What is going on with URL, man? They're not booking any big battles anymore. You know what I'm saying? They booked Arsenal a few times, Eunice a few times, Snake Eyes a few times, J2 a few times, a couple real niggas who are sick a few times. Where are all the big battles at? You know what I'm saying? The last big battle they booked, expensive battle, Loaded Lux versus Rum Nitty. And I can make the argument that that battle only got booked because of RBE.
But how did he know? How he found out?
September 26th, Rum Nitty posted, Loaded Lux, come outside. I'm about tired of your scary ass. Loaded Lux responds, no pun intended. I thought you went pussyfooting. Glad to hear from you. How does a blue background sound? Bishop Briganti, hey, get ARP on the phone. And ARP responds, is this a blue room call out? So you can make the case that these tweets went public and there was probably a fear that after Max Out 3, is RBE going to book Loaded Lux for the blue room? Nah, we can't have that. If you URL, you can't have that. You can't have them bringing all of St. Louis back, Young Ill and Hitman and Averb and B Magic and all that. You can't have them go crazy and book Loaded Lux.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
So we'll put that phone call in and we'll book Loaded Lux versus Rum Nitty. I can make the case that these tweets could be a big reason why that battle got pushed across the table like it did and ended up being booked. But what happened since then? No big battles. Smack talking about there's no money in the culture. We're going to look at a few factors that's going on probably behind the scenes and what can a URL do moving forward to get support from the culture. Let's talk about it.
U2 is the third and last welcome. At A14, meet X20.
What up, man? Chris, somebody checking back in, man. Back with a vlog, man. Make sure that like button and subscribe button your way, and I appreciate all the support. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you guys just having a good holiday. Hope you guys have a good New Year coming up. You know what I'm saying? This has been a pretty interesting year probably for a lot of people. Keep your head up. You know what I'm saying? Best of luck for anything that y'all want to do moving forward in the future. And let's try to make 2025 better than 2024. You know what I'm saying? So I want to start off there. And as always, thanks for the support of the Chris Unbiased channel. So let's talk about a couple things. First of all, contrary to popular belief, because I know people like to create narratives, so I like to try to clear them up when I can. I love URL and what URL has brought to battle rap. I say this a lot, you know what I'm saying? I look on my YouTube earnings from whenever I first started battle rap or first started monetizing. A lot of my blogs were monetized off URL. A lot of my, love for battle rap comes from URL. I was a big Conceited fan. They booked, Conceited battled on Grind Time and then he battled Goods on URL. And I just been following his career. And that kind of like got me into battle rap blogging. Obviously, I was locked up. I get out of jail. Battle rap was a lot of stuff I used to do when I was sitting at home on house arrest. I was just catching up to all these battles that was online, taking my mind off other things that was obviously more detrimental at the time. So for me, battle rap has been a big deal in my life for the last decade. You know what I'm saying? So, and URL is a big part of that. So when I do blogs like this, I'm always trying to add perspective. I'm always trying to help situations. And like I say, man, for $39.99 a month, you can get a consultation fee from Chris Unbiased because I do feel like I bring y'all the most informative channel. I'm not the best blogger, all that kind of stuff, but I know I be knowing what I'm talking about in a lot of situations, and I've been around battle rap for a while. So we're going to look at this particular situation in sections because we know URL hasn't been booking a lot of big battles. There's been a lot of questions. Why? Do they have the money? Are they trying to spend the money? What's really going on? There's no more caffeine. All these different things that's been going on, and people have been wondering, what is URL going to look like in 2025? So I think first way to start off, we need to look at how did we even get here? Let's rewind. Norbs, that is chapter 1, man. I think you have to start with the Norbs settlement. Obviously, we don't know what the settlement is, but it was a big deal in battle rap at the time, and URL ended up having to settle and pay him something. There's been a lot of rumors that URL may be paying Norbs in installments. There's been rumors that Caffeine paid Norbs and URL is paying Caffeine back. We don't have any inclination that any of this is true. This is all speculative, but I don't think that Norbs did not walk away with at least something substantial. What that means, I'm not really sure, but it's something that probably hurt URL pockets. If you listen to the way they talk in interviews now, there was a time when URL used to plan stuff out way ahead. But now when you listen to them talk, they'll do one thing at a time and one thing at a time. And you can change, even the narrative on how people speak has changed since that situation.
2022, when URL was, connected with Caffeine, you guys had a layout for the entire year, what you guys would do. And I think the fans really appreciate that. In 2025, is that something that y'all might do again? Or is the culture the way it is, like now it's more so months by months, as opposed to planning a whole year in advance publicly? Because y'all did it publicly.
I just feel like, you know what I mean? Just to be honest with you, man, I like to do event by event right now.
Okay.
Just because, like, you know what I'm saying, it's just oversaturated.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean, planning out, you know what I mean, too far out in advance just might not be, you know what I mean, the wisest thing to do.
And I was one of the people that obviously did a Norbs Untold Truth. I spoke to Norbs a lot when he was, not in battle rap and first got, let go by URL and everything after the twerk situation. And Norbs had a pretty modest job, if I'm not mistaken. Even when he was with URL in New York, he had a pretty modest job. I think he was driving Uber or something like that. Nothing like that was super crazy. And he just had a kid and, he's married. He's down here in Atlanta. And I always felt if URL had just cut him a check, he probably would have just settled or just let this whole situation go. And that's why I say early on, I feel like URL should have probably tried to pay him $250,000 to $300,000 just to kind of like satisfy him to where he feels good about this situation. When you don't have a lot of money at the time and you're looking at a check for $250,000, $300,000, it means something. And sometimes, maybe you can argue for more, but it took Norbs so long to get to the finish line that maybe that wouldn't have happened. But what happened was people didn't like the way Norbs was treated, and then these lawyers took up his case pro bono, and they fought really hard to get Norbs a settlement. So I do feel like that this settlement has been a big deal as to why URL is moving the way they move. It could be a big reason why Caffeine left. I know they made that statement that they're not making a lot of money and all this kind of stuff. They lost a bunch of money with battle rap and everything. It wasn't profitable, which I'm not necessarily surprised because you're paying all this money and then you're not charging for pay-per-views. So obviously you're not going to make but so much money. However, one of the reasons why Norbs and URL them ended up selling was because Caffeine was also sued as part of the lawsuit, and Caffeine was forced to open the books, which means that they were going to have to open the books and let people know what their profit stuff is like. And they have their own competitors, people like Twitch and stuff like that. So you don't want your numbers to be going public. So I think they put the pressure on URL, forced them to settle, and that's how we got to a settlement. And then maybe they thought, maybe we better get the hell on out of battle rap because there's too much stuff going on. So all of this stuff is just really a trickle-down effect. But when you look at this situation, you have to look at Norbs because Norbs obviously built up a lot of talent. He was a spokesman for a lot of URL stuff. He built a lot of relationships. And I think the sentiment around Norbs is that overall he was good for battle rap. Sometimes you don't appreciate people until they're gone, because I know when Norbs was here, niggas did not like Norbs at all. So the fake love is very funny to me right now. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? People probably like him a lot more now that they look at what it used to be, the golden era of battle rap, and no longer the golden era. And obviously, he was really cool with Gerald McCoy. He was the one that helped Gerald McCoy get into battle rap, was through Norbs. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Gerald McCoy is the godfather to his son. So therefore, they have a good relationship. And then Gerald McCoy ended up sponsoring some battles. So Norbs has done some good things, obviously found some good talent. Some of the last talent he found, Jada Nightwing, Swamp, Geechee Gotti, stuff like that.
My Swamp came up overnight. No. What y'all not gonna do is take away from what I did in my grind.
But you gotta realize what a come up is,
bro,
though, bro.
I battled for Norbs 3 times in 4 months.
URL has not been able to find talent at that level since Norbs left. So you have to look at the Norbs situation as one of the reasons why URL is not spending money like they used to. Abusing the plug, chapter 2. We talk a lot about abusing the plug, man. That's been a hot topic on this channel for a while. We talk a lot about that. It's no secret that URL doesn't want to spend their own money. I'm not mad at that because a lot of times in business, you don't want to spend your own money. They even teach you in finance that you should spend other people's money now. You should use credit cards and not debit cards and stuff like that. You should try to build your credit, spend other people's money, and keep your money in the bank. So that's pretty much how business is ran. So I'm never mad at URL for that. Now, has URL treated sponsors as well as they could have? I don't necessarily think so. And it goes all the way back to exclusive vodkas, cigarillos, all that kind of stuff. You know, probably even a cigarillos dude, you know, he was working with other battle rap leagues and stuff like that. He did not just work with just URL, but he started with URL, and maybe the money that he was given or the money that his company was given could have went a little bit further if they nourished that relationship. But it became more like a joke whenever he would speak before the battles and stuff and say his little thing, you know, whatever his slogan was that he used to say. And I don't know if URL really ever rolled out the red carpet for him. It's like, yeah, you spending money, you paying money, but how much love did URL really show him? I'm not necessarily sure. You got Gerald McCoy. Gerald McCoy paid for a few battles on URL, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the volumes and Born Legacy, stuff like that.
Hey, no disrespect to all the rappers in the building. Battle rappers are the best rappers in the world. From one professional to the others, I respect everything they do. Smack, y'all made these boys wait till the end of the night. So we gonna up the stakes. I'm throwing 20,000 on top of the 100,000. So I need y'all loud. I need y'all cheering. Hey, let's get it, man. That's an extra 20. Let's get it.
He gave $20,000 to the winner of JC and Swamp. You know what I'm saying? So he came on stage, gave that money away, and that was like one of the last times that he really kind of like really helped URL out financially that I know of. But like I said, he is the godfather to Norbs' kids, so the relationship is really there. So when you're not treating Norbs right, sometimes you may lose that relationship a little bit with Gerald McCoy. Now, I realize that he still would speak to URL, deal with URL, talk to URL, but the Norbs relationship is what got him closer to Smack and Beasley. So you have that situation. You kind of don't have Norbs anymore. Then you lose a little bit of that support. And Gerald McCoy was a YouTube guy. He wasn't an app guy. So that's why he would invest in things that involve YouTube. So when URL went to the app, they lost a lot of the Gerald McCoy support because he'll help out on Midnight Madness. He'll help out with other leagues. He'll do stuff like that. But when it came to like paying for a battle for it to only be on the app, that wasn't anything that he was necessarily interested in. So them creating an app, which is good for them, but it also did hurt the Gerald McCoy relationship because he started helping out other leagues and other situations and stuff like that, working a little bit with RBE, working a little bit with Trenches and Chrome 23, and working a little bit with just other leagues in general, and working a little bit with Midnight Madness and stuff like that. So that was the Gerald McCoy situation. We all know about Harry. Harry was involved a lot, and it's documented from Norbs, if you listen to my Untold Truth, that Harry wasn't treated right.
I feel like Harry, a lot of people were his friend because he could help them. You know what I'm saying? And, I think that's what it was. You haven't heard nothing about Harry in how long? Is that a coincidence?
I mean, last time I heard anything about Harry was when they actually, I guess, announced the caffeine deal. They thanked Harry.
Harry was shelling out hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, you gotta understand, like, Capone Cigarellos and Exclusive Vodka, they weren't putting up as much as Harry. Behind the scenes, Harry was putting up ridiculous amounts of money. You know what I'm saying? And I knew Harry, but I wouldn't take money from Harry. I never asked Harry for money for an event, for PG. This was coming out of my pockets. On Legacy, my pockets. You know what I'm saying? Harry was putting up so much money, and I really feel like, and this is just being real, I felt like the only reason they were his friend was because of the money.
And sometimes when you just get in the game and spend money, man, people can just treat you like a trick. You just spending money, and then it's just like, they don't really be rocking with you, but at the same time, because you spend money, they'll keep you around. And according to Norbs, Harry really wasn't getting treated right either in terms of just like, you know, I guess the respect and everything like that. And I know Harry wanted to do certain things and wanted to put his imprint on certain stuff, and he's one of the reasons why URL started doing pay-per-views. They weren't always doing pay-per-views. We used to sit and wait 3 months after an event for a battle to finally drop, and Harry was like, nah, I need some of my bread back. We got to do pay-per-views, and URL was worried about bootlegging and all this kind of stuff. When you have a difference of business ideas, but you're only doing it because the nigga is giving you money, so you have to do what he say, you cannot wait to get from up under that situation. So they was with Harry for a very, very long time. But when they got to Caffeine and they created the app and everything, and I think I heard Harry helped them create the app. The goal was, let's do the app, make our money from the app, and we can buy Harry out, pay Harry his money back from whatever he did helping us with the app, and then we're up from under Harry, and we don't have to deal with Harry no more. And you know, you get with Caffeine and you got Caffeine money, you don't really need Harry no more. So Harry is not around. So this is a situation now where Harry might be able to pay for some of these big old battles, but I don't know if URL treated Harry right good enough over the years to keep him around now, because now behind the scenes I'm hearing he don't really rock with URL like that. So why does it have to be that though? Every breakup doesn't have to be bad, but you just have to nourish those relationships. But what happens is that it's hard to do business with people when they're just giving you money, because sometimes they want to be influential. They want to have a say-so on who should be on a card. They don't know, always play the background like they should, different stuff. And sometimes you need the money, so sometimes you got to eat it, but you don't, you don't want to eat it because it's really your business. If you smack Chico and Beasley, you don't want to be having another person tell you like, I want you to put this dude on the card or that dude on the card. But, you know, in fairness to them, Harry also got a little fanned out with Balor's. Balor's were calling Harry instead of calling URL to be booked. They'll call Harry and be like, yo, you know, I'm trying to get on Summer Madness. Harry said he'll pay for it. It's just like, why are you able to talk to Harry? I think sponsors need to stay behind the scenes and just stay behind the scenes, which brings me to this Frank White dude. Now, Frank White has been putting a lot of money into the culture. I didn't know a whole lot about Frank White. I just know that he fell out with Hustle over one of the Queen of the Ring battles or whatever, and he went in spaces and talked about it. That was pretty much my introduction to who Frank White is. Like, I heard like, oh, there's a sponsor running around. He's getting more and more vocal, and he's another dude that kind of needs to sit his ass down and stay behind the scenes as well. And a lot of times these dudes don't, because he's on Twitter, you know, basically he has like a sponsorship company. So he sponsors some battles, but he's also in spaces. He's cool with battlers, stuff like that. And anytime you in that kind of situation, I just feel like a league should be a league, and a sponsor should just stay behind the scenes. But even this tweet right here, right? It says, no more NFL niggas, no more politicians, no more cigar niggas with the funny shirts and hats. And he's like, you know, look at me now, I am the captain now kind of thing. Like, he has this kind of thing on. And, you know, it's a joke, but it's always sometimes a little truth in every joke. But even here, he posted all the battles that he's paid for, which is quite a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally posted the battles he paid for on Twitter with different leagues. If anybody with money sees this, I have personally committed $200,000 of my own money to pushing the culture forward. What battle rap needs is a creative fund that it can pull from to fund more mega matches, more creative content, and marketing budgets, long-term investments. This is what he posted. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what else. Are there any battlers that want a 3-battle sponsorship deal? You'll get 3 battles over 6 months. You have to battle 1 up-and-comer, 1 female, and 1 top tier. And he talks about the pay that you'll get. So he's very outspoken. He's very, you know, from what I hear, he's a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really see, I'm not saying he's not a good guy. What I'm saying is that he's in the mix and he's in friends with a lot of these battle rappers and stuff. But you have him, and you know, he tends to work with like multiple leagues, but URL is a league he worked with. I feel like URL probably needs this guy. He would be a good guy to continue to pay for some battles here and there. So they should treat him right. So when you have a situation where you have him falling out with Hustle, right? Because he paid Hustle some money and she didn't do the battle and all this kind of stuff. URL, in my personal opinion, even though it's a Queen of the Ring event, and they don't have anything to do with it, if I'm URL, I can't let the money get fucked up. So I get on that phone, I talk to Hustle, I damn near make Hustle do a public apology. I ain't gonna even lie, like, yo, you messing up the money. You know what I'm saying? Like all this arguing with niggas, going back and forth, whoop-de-whoop, man, you messing up the money. So me knowing that you first lady at URL, you got respect for me, I get you on the phone, you apologize. I get Frank White on the phone. Is there any way I can fix this situation with Hustle? Let me give you the Hustle money back that you might have felt like you lost. You got to be able to nourish those relationships and make these sponsors feel like, yeah, you might have to meet ride them. You know what I mean? URL, you might have to meet ride the sponsor. But that's what I'm saying. You got to keep these sponsors and you got to keep the money right, especially if you're not trying to spend your own money. And clearly, you ain't trying to spend your own money. So you have that situation, but it still looks like, even though he threatened to retire and he was mad about the Hustle thing, or threatened to, you know, basically just leave the game and not sponsor any more battles, it looked like he's still sponsoring. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I tell you, a lot of times these guys get so fanned out with these battlers, they talk about leaving, but you know, when you come in the game and you got money and you got battlers calling you on the phone trying to ask for some of your money or book a battle, and you kind of feel like you're the only hope to get this battle booked or whatever, you kind of like, that's kind of like I guess a little rush in a way, like, damn, you know, niggas really need me to make something happen. I can bring something to the culture. You can't battle and you don't have a league, but you can still bring something to the culture through sponsorships. And I think even that can be a high for some people. And last is Caffeine. You know what I'm saying? URL, Caffeine was always going to lose money. Don't get me wrong, because I don't really know how they really make money. And they weren't charging for pay-per-views. But just because I give you $100,000 to do a battle doesn't mean you got to spend the entire $100,000 budget. And I just feel like some of what URL did was they just raised the market too high. People talking about, oh, I'm getting $40,000 to $50,000 a battle. If URL knows they can't pay $50,000 a battle without a sponsor, they shouldn't be trying to pay it with a sponsor. They should do it as incentives. If you want to give extra money out, don't just give it to people like, oh, we got some extra money. Here go $40,000 for a battle when we know you normally only get 30, but because it's Caffeine, I throw extra 10 on. No, make niggas work for it. Battle of the night, round of the night, performance of the night. Stuff like that. Make people use Caffeine's money to be more of an incentive. And I think that way you will have some better battles even that way. But, you know, I salute URL for at least giving the money out, because they could have found a way to pocket it or like line their pockets. Who knows? Maybe they did a little bit of both. Maybe they gave the money out and line their pockets. But all I ever hear battle rappers say is, damn, we missed the Caffeine era. We were really getting paid. So whatever happened, URL was giving them the money. And I can never be mad that you didn't gave the battlers the money. So that's the name of the game. So, but abusing the plug, they raised the market of battle rap too high, and they just basically overspent. A lot of it was competition. You know, I'm trying to keep my league like this. I don't want Chrome 23 coming here. I don't want RBE coming here. So at the end of the day, I'm going to make it so profitable for you to battle on URL that you don't even want to go anywhere. Case in point was Geechee Gotti. Geechee Gotti and RB and ARP spoke a lot about him battling in the Blue Room. Remember Gotti, I can do what I want to do. I can do what I want to do and go where I want to go. He never did, though. One of the reasons why, his bread was buttered over at URL, and he did not want to mess that relationship up in the middle of a lawsuit when there was so much stuff going on. So URL was keeping some people with URL by the high prices of caffeine, but you were overpaying people. You were just overpaying people at the end of the day. So abusing a plug was a big deal because now it's harder to get the ballers to come down on the price because it's also a trust thing. Do you not have the money for real, or do you have the money and don't want to pay it? Because you'll have people like Verb in a space telling everybody like URL got money. They pay, they line their pockets. They just don't want to spend the money. They was trying to give us pennies. They trying to give us data. Those narratives go out there, and then people start to wonder whether or not URL is just being cheap. Do y'all have sponsors that we don't know about? How much money are you making on the app? For real? Do you have the money and you don't want to pay it? Why are you telling me that I made $30,000 in the last battle, but now you only got 14 for me? Do you really only got 14, or are you trying to lowball me? All of these things create trust issues. You wouldn't have had that had you not raised the market as high as you did. In business, you got to manage battles so that you can win tomorrow, not just win today. It's not about having the best battle today, the biggest battle today. You got to figure out, how can I take this money and stretch it so I can also win tomorrow? And that's what I mean when I say URL abused the plug. Blindsided and complacency. That is chapter 3. I think when URL came into this year, I don't think they realized that there was going to be so many leagues coming out that were going to be doing big battles. You got Calico League. He started off the first of the year doing, him and Reed Dollars and Bill Collector and Tay-Rock. You didn't see Calico's Black Mafia Battle League being a fixture this year. It didn't even exist before this year. So it was something URL couldn't have imagined that was going to come out of nowhere. Then you got Power Moves. They do Geechee Gotti and Hitman. After Geechee Gotti and Hitman was basically standing on URL stage talking about doing a battle on URL, but never did a battle on URL.
I started this stage. I'm the reason the bodies be piling up. They said, "Hollow, I smack ain't never booked you to be on volume." I say, "Shit, I guess he figured my voice loud enough." What's big money to small change? 2 words after this. Okay. That was cute. That's my time. That was cute and all that. But look. We need this shit to go down this year on URL. None of that little playground shit you try to do.
Sometimes in life, when you really feel like you're the only person bidding for something, you kind of sometimes don't really feel like it's an urgency for it. So at the time, you come into the year and Bags and Bodies start moving up to where they want to start booking battles and stuff like that. And Hitman wants to do a battle because him and Mook can't really get popping. And he ends up booking Geechee Gotti and Hitman, which should have been a URL battle a year earlier, and it wasn't. You may have thought Trenches and Chrome was going to fade by the wayside. I remember having some talks with some people with URL, and they kind of thought the Easy Remy thing was a fling. And once she went back to Papoose, there's no way she was going to keep Chrome 23 around, right? She wasn't going to do that. There was no way Easy and the Trenches was going to be folded. Come to find out, Easy and Rem is a real situation, and Pap is the one out the door. You couldn't have saw that coming. You would have asked me, a year and a half ago, like, would damn near would Rem and Pap be done and Easy be the guy? I probably would have been like, hell no. But looking forward, that's the situation. And if that's the situation, Chrome 23 will always be a player, and Trenches is always going to be a player. So that's something URL probably would have thought that was going to be fading because there was so much drama. Remy was in the news. her situation was in the news. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, it can't be that much money in battle rap. Just bow out, keep your dignity and all that kind of stuff. Instead, she stands 2 toes down, keeps throwing events. You know what I'm saying? Instead, she stands 10 toes down, keeps throwing events on some I don't give a damn, comes in here, books another major grudge match in A-Verb versus Swamp. And it's just like, yo, like, this is another battle that should have been on URL. It's the reason Swamp came off the trenches was the battle Verb at Summer Madness. It didn't happen, and that battle ends up being on Chrome 23 anyway. So you couldn't have imagined that. You had Hollow versus Av go down on the trenches. That was a battle that was paid for by Gerald McCoy. Why Gerald McCoy didn't pay for Hollow and Av on URL? Why? You also have Hollow the Don versus Av, another big battle in the culture that went to the trenches. Hollow the Don and Av are URL artists, though. Why didn't that battle go to URL? Why Gerald McCoy paid for that battle? Why didn't Gerald McCoy pay for it on URL? One, the Norb situation, the fact that he doesn't deal with app-only events, so he puts it on a YouTube league. So now Trenches looks even better because it has a big battle like Hollow and Av, which was a Gerald McCoy battle. So all these things are trickle-down effects. King of the Dot ends up doing Big K and Tay-Rock. URL could have done Big K and Tay-Rock on URL if they would have dropped the politics and booked Big K, but it ends up being on King of the Dot, a neutral field, which was cool. But all of the big battles, Geechee and Hitman and Swamp and Verb and Big K and Tay-Rock and Av and Hollow the Don and Mook and Ars, all these battles went away from URL. They probably underestimated and were blindsided by the fact that leagues took matters into their own hand and booked battles themselves. The complacency part comes in. If URL isn't really losing any subscribers to the app, then why the hell do I gotta make any changes? When I look at the app, if I had 1,000 subscribers subscribed to the app and I look up 6 months later and I have, let's just say 995 and only 5 people left, I'm really not losing on real money. So despite the fact that I'm chilling, not really booking super crazy battles, doing whatever, you know what I'm saying? Y'all not happy with my 2023 and all that. If I can still look at this app and see that y'all niggas are still subscribed to the app, then I have weathered the storm. We look at all this stuff with 2023. URL this, URLs under RBE, URL this. If the app is still popping for these niggas, if niggas are still subscribed to the app, niggas are still rocking with the app, I don't really need to change much because the numbers say y'all still support me because you subscribe. I'm still winning. I've weathered the storm and I'm still winning. And that's how you get complacent. And complacency is I don't even see that Bags and Bodies is coming. Calico League is coming. Trenches is still here. King of the Dot does an event. And now I'm looking at like, yo, what the fuck? Now we looking like we some regular ass league and all these leagues are just dominating the headlines, booking Mook and Geechee Gotti and Hitman and Hollow the Don, booking all these God tier kind of people, and we're missing a boat. So blindsided and complacency also played a big role with URL also. Changing your business model, chapter 4. Now, I just talked about complacency, and sometimes you don't want to change your business model if you're looking at the bottom line and niggas are still subscribed to the app. It's like, what do I need to change for? I'm still winning. However, URL might need to consider a different business model because it's not that Calico has more money than URL. It's not that Hitman has more money than URL. It's not that these other leagues have more money than URL. They're just doing a different business model of booking battles. So what they'll do is they'll go to someone like a Murder Mook and you're battling Arsenal and I'll give you a pay-per-view deal. And the reason why those are kind of good is I'm making you bet on yourself. If you feel like you're so dope as a battler and you're so nice and you bring in all these views and you're the whatever, the algorithm or whatever, I can have you bet on yourself. So I'm sitting down and talking to you like, yo, how much money, how many pay-per-view buys you think you know what I'm saying, you and Arsenal can do. You might say, man, we could do like 8,000 pay-per-view buys. So I go on my calculator, 8,000 times 50, $400,000, right? I say, okay, if that's the case, then 25% of that is $100,000. I don't have $100,000 like to just give you. So I'll tell you that you can get 25% of the pay-per-view sales. If you really big and bad and you really feel like you can do 8,000 pay-per-view buys, then you know that you're at least going to get $100,000. And you might get more. Maybe you'll sell 9,000 pay-per-view buys and I got to pay you more money. But you're going to get your 6 figures that you're looking for this battle. Those are the things that leagues are doing in order to pay for big battles. They're going to the battler and saying, bet on yourself. If you think you're that nigga, if you think you can sell pay-per-views, if you think the culture is going to pack this venue out because you're here, then we can do it like this. I'll give you a percentage of the pay-per-view. I'll give you your upfront. You'll get a percentage on the pay-per-view, and that's how Cassidy, John can book Cassidy. That's how Calico can book Mook. That's how Bags and Bodies can book Geechee Gotti and all these kind of people. They just do it through pay-per-view deals. Now, sometimes when you're in the game a long time, you don't really want to change. You're looking at the URL app, niggas are still subscribed. You feel like, hey, you know, ARP's retired. What the hell do I need to be trying to do all this kind of stuff for? One of my biggest competitors ain't even doing battles no more. Which kind of goes also to the complacency. Like, I don't have a lot of competition as much as I think I do because ARP's gone. So maybe I'm thinking like I could just weather the storm. URL probably won't want to change their business model because, one, follow the innovators, not the imitators. You ain't really being innovative if you doing it. If you change to a pay-per-view model, now you're copying other niggas that doing pay-per-view models. So sometimes you don't want to do it. But the biggest reason is you don't want to open the books. Because once you start doing pay-per-view deals with battlers, now you got to start letting niggas know the kind of pay-per-view sales you're doing because you're doing pay-per-view deals with them. So they need to know how many pay-per-view sales you got. And I might have to prove how many pay-per-views I sold so you can make sure you're getting the right amount of money. And I don't know if URL will want people to know how many pay-per-view buys they're doing on these events. So, but that is another way when you don't have a sponsor to be able to book a battle. You can go to Lux, you can go to Mook, you can go to Hitman, you can go to all these people and say, bet on yourself, take a percentage deal of the pay-per-view, and that will be your money. Will they do it? I doubt that they do it. Should they do it? It's probably something they should look into very seriously. But by doing it, you're going to have to now show people the amount of pay-per-views you sold so they can know that they're getting their money. And once stuff become public, niggas can run their mouth and be like, oh, you only sold 6,000 pay-per-views of Summer Madness 13. Like, you know, and then shit just start going public. So you don't really want that. But business models are popular so far. It hasn't been public with RBE, hasn't been public with Black Mafia Battle League, hasn't been public with Bullpen, hasn't been public with this situation too. So yeah, I do think URL needs to probably look into that in the future of, if we don't have a sponsor, how can we still do these battles? And pay-per-view deals is probably the best way to go. Chapter 5. What can URL now do? You know what I'm saying? To try to get, you know, some of these bigger events and stuff like that. Because I don't really feel like they have enough support from the fans. I mean, people, you know, obviously still like battle rap and stuff like that. But I do feel like, you know, in my opinion, URL is still trying to recover from like the RIM cease and desist and the Norbs lawsuit and the Verb burning them down in spaces and the RBE 12-part series. They're still trying to, you know, fight their way back from that. And that includes the easy situation and everything. It's just been a lot for them to kind of deal with. I think URL got to be more on the front lines. I think they got to do more interviews. They got to be more at the ground level, which is what they're not right now. One reason why ARP wins a lot in this culture is that you can literally reach out and talk to him. You can ask him about anything. You can say whatever. He's always trying to answer questions and do all that. That stuff means a lot, man. In YouTube, they kind of teach you that live videos are better than edited videos. And why are live videos better? Because of interaction. When you have interaction, it grows your channel faster. So to them, they say if you do more live videos than edited videos, you should be able to grow a channel a little bit faster and also have fans fuck with you more. Fans like the fact that you can say, hey, you know, John Williams asks, will URL book Lux vs. Daylight in 2025? They like the fact that you acknowledge their question and in the comment section or the chat or whatever the case may be. URL should go live more. They should talk to fans more. They could stream from their YouTube channel. They could do StreamYard from the YouTube channel and actually bring fans up and let fans ask questions. They can do IG lives and stuff like that. They don't do anything. They really kind of got all the way up here, sat on a high horse, and the only time you ever really get a chance to talk to them is if Hip Hop Is Real catch up with them at an event. Other than that, it's like they'll go to Champion to address something. But they don't just be vibing and kicking it with fans and all this kind of stuff. I like what they're doing with the YouTube releases and the Christmas release and stuff like that. They're putting a lot of battles on YouTube. Loaded Lux is, you know, they just released Swamp and Tay-Rock on YouTube. They're about to release Loaded Lux and Rum Nitty on YouTube. So they are doing some things to try to like show some appreciation to the fans of putting battles out on YouTube, letting you know like, yo, this is what you're missing on the app. But you got to come more down to the ground level. People got to be able to reach out and touch you. I tell you a lot of times in business, I got to be able to buy into you, not just a person. I got to be able to buy into you. There was a time, you remember the argument used to be sometimes like, man, I hate that this battle was on such and such league. This is a URL battle. We used to hear that a lot about a lot of battles. Every time there was a battle that involved a URL artist, they didn't even want it on other leagues. They didn't want it on Trenches. They didn't want it on Bullpen. They didn't want it on, they wanted it on URL. This is a URL battle. You don't really hear that much no more. Niggas ain't mad Geechee Gotti and Hitman is over there. Niggas ain't mad Mook and Arse is in Detroit. Niggas ain't mad Hollow the Don and them is, you know, in Florida or wherever they was. They don't be mad, bro. They don't be mad. There was a time when those kind of battles, people would be like, man, that's a URL battle, man. I hate that this going to battle on another league. It won't have the same energy. This the UR Smack need to be flipping a coin for this. Those used to be the narratives. You don't really hear that anymore. You really do not hear that anymore. So I do feel like, you know, you got to buy into the person. And I feel like URL has done the least amount of work for fans that really want to buy into them. Because they have drama, they don't address it, they ignore it, they don't really care. You know, a lot of times know what's going on. And then when they do address stuff, it's like it's a scripted interview. It's not like they just really telling you what's going on in this freestyle. They probably get a whole little pep talk like, yo, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about that. And I feel like that's how you kind of get the fans back. The bootlegging issue is a big deal. It's definitely a big deal. I saw some encouraging things when it came to power moves and when it came to Calico's league. Those events were packed. Those streams did well from what I understand. You know what I'm saying? Especially power moves. So the support is still there. As much as we say battle rap is dead, it's still there. And even in bootlegging battles, people, look how many people are bootlegging battles. That's why you can go in a Discord, there's 100 people in it. People still want to watch the battles. They just really don't want to pay for it. They want to bootleg it. But the fact that people are tuned into the battle, you can tell that there's still a market for the battle. But I think because people don't rock with URL, to me, URL is more likely to be be bootleg. And it's not because they're the biggest league. So the biggest league obviously might be bootleg more. It's just because people don't really give a damn about URL making no money. They either feel like they already got money in BS and or done some dirty business, so it's just payback and karma, whatever it is. What I saw with Hitman and Calico, when Calico did that blog talking about he spent his life savings and them bootleg jokes ain't funny to me, is people in the comment section, all up and down the comment section saying, I'm going to support this event. He was vulnerable. He got on camera to tell you, man, I'm broke.
I really took every dollar I had. I have no money right now. Like, I have no money. Like, I'm poor right now. Like, my baby eating ramen noodles until December. Like, y'all need to understand that part of it. Don't just think this shit just happened out of nowhere. Like, no, I am poor. I have a quarter tank of gas in my car. I am coming to y'all as humble as possible. I put everything I got into this shit. This was well over $100,000. And I'm not saying that to stunt. I'm not saying that to, I'm not saying that in no kind of bragging or boasting way. I'm saying that as humble as possible, that I put my all, everything I own into this shit. Like, if this shit don't go right, y'all might not hear from me again. Like, honestly. I took every dollar I had, almost pawned the bus. Almost pawned my watch for this battle. Like, this shit real like that. So, you know, I don't even really take the jokes and shit too well, because I don't know if they jokes. You know what I'm saying? When nigga talking about bootlegging the stream and all that shit, like, that shit ain't funny to me. It's not. You know, niggas don't be caring about bootleg streams and shit because they don't be investing their own money. They be having other motherfuckers' money. You know what I'm saying? And when you got other motherfuckers' money, you don't really care. You don't really care. Long as you get your part. You know what I'm saying? So niggas don't be giving a fuck. But I'm doing this shit out the mud. I'm doing this shit off the muscle. Like, them bootleg jokes ain't funny to me. Like, that shit not funny.
That nigga literally said it in a video, I'm broke. Was he really broke? I don't know. But he said, I'm broke. I took my life savings. Me and my daughter eating ramen noodles. I put everything into this event because I believe into it. That makes you want to spend the $50 on Calico. That makes you kind of want to see Calico win and want to put the $50 in Calico pocket. Hitman holler the same thing. He in the spaces talking about bootlegging. And man, if this don't work out, man, I ain't going to be here no more. I'm trying to save battle rap, trying to do whatever, trying to put these events together for y'all. Y'all just going to sit back and bootleg. I can't even support it. Even sometimes you can still pull at a nigga heartstrings, bro. They can be cold, they can be cutthroat. You can pull at their heartstrings and be like, you know what? Normally I would bootleg. I'm actually gonna support this event because it's Hitman and I want to see him win. They didn't all of a sudden become non-bootleggers. Them niggas are still bootleggers. You know what they did? They bought into Calico and his story, and they bought into Hitman and his story. All his ongoing beef with Verb, how he's still trying to do an event and be successful in the midst of Verb hating on the event and stuff. They bought into him and said, no, I want to see you win. Yeah, I could bootleg it, but no, I dropped the $45, $50, $60 just to help see you win. And URL to me just does not have that kind of support, which is why even doing pay-per-views and stuff is just still not at the support they need. And this is how you get support. I think URL should interact with the media more. They should do more interviews with 3 Letterman. They should do more interviews even with Caps when Caps was on Instagram and stuff. They should try to work with the bloggers more and stuff. But they kind of take this role like, we don't really need you. It is what it is. You know, it's just this. Like, we just going to do the event or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They don't really try to build relationships like other leagues do. Other leagues try to build relationships. They're not utilizing spaces. They're not talking to people. Beasley are going to space because Hitman bring them to space. Going to space so that the fans can talk to you. That's another way you win. I don't feel like avoiding stuff is good in business. So there's not addressing stuff. There's not hollering at people, not talking to people, and, you know, not just on a regular basis. I just don't think like it's a good business model for winning. So for me, I feel like they need to do more of that to get the support from the fans. And also, there's this kind of thing where it seemed like, you know, battlers have historically been willing to take less money for smaller leagues than they will URL. They'll overcharge URL and take less money the other way. And a lot of that is just people just feel like URL got it. URL got the money. And that's why I say transparency will go a long way. I think URL should definitely be more transparent. I don't really like that people will take less money on small leagues and then try to tax URL. I personally don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I get it that they have more money and there needs to be a balance. But niggas will give breaks to Hitman for his league, Calico for his league, and then with URL, they like, nah, we're not really trying to get no breaks like that. And they want their money, and it just is what it is. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but you know, I do understand that they probably feel like if URL either don't got it, they can go out and get it. They have the relationships to go out and get it. But overall, man, URL, if you watching this, you just gotta be more transparent. You gotta come to the ground level and fuck with the fans. You need to get in spaces, do more interviews, go live on your channel, whatever, with Jay Black and do different stuff. It needs to be more of just sitting here with the fans and seeing what's going on. The marketing also has to be better, utilizing your channel and utilizing other stuff. People like Eunice and them, they're nice. We don't really know a lot about them. I think y'all need to do more stuff on the app, do more interviews, stuff like that. All I know from Eunice is that he's a virgin, he's dark skinned, and he live in the DMV area. I don't really know nothing about this dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's like y'all got to do more to build up a story of a battler. Because everybody's not, you know, you don't only have so many people that's really, really, you know, kind of just out there trying to do the marketing thing. So, and you definitely might need to look into changing your business model. If you don't have a sponsor, you might need to have people bet on themselves and actually do events that way. I know you don't want to open up the pay-per-view books. I get it. But I do feel like that you got to get rid of a lot of the politics and just book battles that people want to see and people support. And if you do these things, the support will come around. There's still a market for battle rap. People still watch battle rap, even if they watch the bootleg. It's still being watched. So how can I convert those eyes into paying customers? And you do that by people buying into you. Somehow over the last couple of years, fans just stopped buying into y'all. Just stop buying into y'all, but you can get these fans back.
Like they'll say something publicly about URL, some distasteful shit, and then apologize behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is gay. We family, like at the end of the day. You talking about niggas that really done put bread in niggas' pockets, bail niggas out of jail, pay niggas rent, pay niggas fucking, like all these niggas got them stories, bro. Yeah. All these niggas got them stories. Yeah. Christmas, I ain't got no money for Christmas, niggas sending them.
And just the natural fact that they put a dope business plan into where everybody can get paid.
Everybody getting paid, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And
when
on all
that
service
sponsorship
level
came around, they was throwing checks,
yeah,
bro.
so,
I'm talking like checks, nigga.
You can get them back, but you got to be vulnerable. You got to talk to people. You got to let them know what's going on. You got to ask questions. What can we do to get better? What would you like us to do differently? Stuff like that. Come out and talk to people, and people will be more willing to support. But we looking at an interesting year coming up, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where battle rap is going to be. There's still a lot of big battles in the culture. You know what I'm saying? To carry the year. You still got, you know, Easy and Rock. You still got Surf and Rock. You still got, you know what I'm saying, whoever Lux battle. You still got Mook and Hitman. You still got a few big battles in this culture that will be really big. And we just got to figure out a way to make them happen. And we are living in a time where URL is not the end all for the big battles. People are doing pay-per-view deals and doing the battles themselves. And that could be where battle rap is headed if URL doesn't change with the times and at least get people to start buying into them again, or at least changing their business model and adapting some of that as well. And they've had to do it before because they used to not do pay-per-views. They used to be so against the bootlegs and the pay-per-views, and now it's like, oh, just get the pay-per-view. So they have changed their business model before. They may have to change it again in order to make the battles happen, unless they have a sponsor, of course. So that's just my thoughts. Chris Unbiased, holla at your boy.
G2 is the third and last 51 on 8814, 8814, meet X20.